Hello, my name's Naomi. I've been asked to briefly share about what following Jesus looks like for me. As I was preparing to share with you all, one word that kept coming back to me was relationships. Following Jesus for me has always been about relationships, whether that's with God himself or with other people. It's these relationships that have allowed me to grow both personally and spiritually as I've sought to look more like Christ. I'm unaware of the exact age that I became a Christian, but I think I was around 5 years old when I chose to follow Jesus. As a child, I always struggled with the idea of faith not being a feeling. But as I have grown older, I have learnt that God does not always direct us with feelings, but rather calls us to step out in faith, even if we feel nothing. This is trust and is foundational to any strong relationship. As I went through my teens, I really struggled with my mental health and an eating disorder. Yet through these deep, dark valleys, I have always been made aware of God's presence with me and his ability to join me in my suffering through his use of other relationships in my life and his direct relationship to me. A Bible verse that was one of my favourites during this time was 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9, which says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Sometimes my walk with God has been about personal growth in his word and I communion with him in my quiet times. Other times it has been about community and learning from others, which in turn has allowed to reach out to those in our world who do not yet know Jesus and grow in my relationship with them so they might too know Christ for themselves. It is my relationships with these people that has been a huge part of what following Jesus has looked like for me. Evangelism was the heartbeat of Jesus' ministry with his disciples, and is a command that he has left us to go and make disciples for ourselves. Our friends, colleagues and families all need to know Jesus, and it's our relationship with them that is a doorway, allowing them to have a relationship with Christ themselves. Ecclesiastes 3 reminds us that God has placed eternity on the heart of all men, and all they have to do is respond. I had the pleasure while at university watching one of my friends become a Christian. It was amazing watching her being sceptical about Jesus, but transitioning to welcoming him into her life and having a personal relationship with him. During the pandemic, I've been made so aware of our world's desperate need for relationships and community. God created us relational in his image, as he is a relational God. I have learned that I must be in daily conversation with God, being vulnerable, honest, and aware of my sin. No matter what our pasts are or what we're struggling with in the present, God always wants to know what's going on in our lives. As it says in Song of Solomon 2 verse 14, he wants us to show him our faces, as he has already shown us his. I'd like to finish by reading an excerpt from one of my favourite devotionals by Paul David Tripp, called A Shelter in the Time of Storm, and this is from the devotional called The Back of God's Head. It's a wonderful thing for every child of God to know that one thing he will never ever see is the back of God's head. God will never hide his face from us. He will never turn his back on us. He will never turn and walk away. He will never reject nor forsake us. He will never cast us off. Perhaps the most glorious mystery of our lives is that we have been chosen to have his face forever towards us. We have been chosen to have a smile forever on us. We have been blessed to have him look on us with love and grace forever and ever. What is stunning about the favour of God is that we could have never done anything to deserve, achieve or earn it. You see, what stunned me about the favour of the Lord isn't just that there was a period in my life long ago when I got it all wrong and when I wanted to be my own king. No, even as God's child, I still get it wrong. I still have moments when I'm much more excited about my kingdom than I am about God's. I still forget the glorious reality of his love for me and hook my life to the flawed glories of a created world. Yet in all of this, God doesn't get exasperated. He doesn't grow weary. He doesn't wonder why in the world he chose to redeem me in the first place. He doesn't look for ways to show me how much I've hurt him. He doesn't harbour bitterness or hold a grudge. He doesn't hide his face or run or walk away. He's patient in love and persevering in grace, even though I am not able to earn his favour. Why am I so blessed? I'm blessed because in the most painful moment in human history, Jesus willingly subjected himself to the rejection of the Father. He took on my sin and allowed himself to be rejected. In this unthinkable moment of substitution, the Trinity was torn apart as the Father turned away from the Son. Here's what you and I have to understand. Jesus was willing to suffer the horrible rejection of the Father so that you and I will never ever have to experience it for ourselves. Jesus willingly looked at the back of God's head so that we would never look at anything but his face. So today, when you envision God with the eyes of your heart, envision his face, because you're his child, and it is the only thing you are ever going to see. Thank you. Hello ladies, as you've heard my testimony, I also thought I'd share a little bit about what I'm going to be going into this coming year. This year I'll be serving alongside Gala Shields Christian Union as a UCCF relay worker. I'm extremely excited to be joining the UCCF team, as the Christian Union has been such a formative part of my university experience and I've loved every minute. The focus of my relay year will be discipleship, theological training and ministry experience, specifically encouraging and supporting the students of Gala Shields in their relationship with Jesus and their evangelism on campus. Along with equipping and supporting the students, I will also have the opportunity to meet one-to-one with my supervisor Esther to study God's Word together and grow in our relationship with the Lord, which I hope will help me reach out to the students at Gala Shields campus who do not yet know Christ, and so that they can know him for themselves. None of this will be possible without your help. The next year of relay will inevitably come with challenges and hurdles, and I would love for you to uphold me in prayer as I rely on the Lord's strength and power to do his work. Every month I'll be sending out a prayer letter sharing how the Lord has been working and things that need continued prayer. If you'd like to sign up for my prayer letter, please email the email address that's now on the screen. Over the next year, I'll also require financial support in order to cover the expenses of my ministry. I would love for you to consider partnering with me next year, both prayerfully and financially, as I seek to serve the Lord in Gala Shields. I cannot wait to see what God has in store for me over the next year, and I would love for you to journey along with me. If this is something you would be interested in, please email me and use the stewardship number 20372422. Thank you.